Hello everyone. Advance for all the whirring that's been in my mic over these videos. It's summer and it's hot as hell in my apartment. There's like no air movement, so it's just gonna be there until things cool down for a little bit, or I'm proactive enough to go into Audacity and filter it out. But in any case, welcome in. This is section 1.1 of OKKU's class. I'm just gonna assume that's the pronunciation, so apologies in advance if I butcher it. As always, first and foremost, I deeply appreciate the class, the platform, and the artist, so no means do I mean to disrespect them by creating this content. That's purpose is to help others see if they want to purchase the course, and those who can't / are still debating, at least get a little bit of intake as to what they can see as to what they learn in the course. Regarding that, the content in the course is not replaceable by me, in my opinion. The content offered by the course is infinitely more valuable than what I can even review in this document page here that I'll slowly add up over time. There's some really great resources and insights by the instructor that's offered that I cannot replace. And therefore, I highly recommend anyone who's looking and who's interested in the course to purchase it. I just hope that these videos help as an insight. As always, I will more than happily take down both the video and restrict the access to the document if asked by either Coloso or the artist themselves. Okay, so with that out of the way, this is section 1.1, which is points to focus on to get the most out of the class. And as always, I will leave a link to this video in the document. So, truthfully speaking, this was a very abrupt, maybe abrupt's not the best way to put it, down to earth and to the point introduction. There's very little introductions from the lecturer themselves, but we're getting right into the content, so it was a very quick introduction. A lot of the fat has been trimmed as opposed to other courses observed so far. And really the main point of this course is to make a character concept that serves as the backbone of a finished illustration. This is easily going to be a foolproof piece that we can observe at the end of this string of lectures and have something tangible to show for it. Not that the other classes don't, but this is very much tailored to start building pieces in a portfolio. So the goal is project-oriented in nature, obviously. The whole course is designed around building this project, and to create a character concept design / model sheet into a full illustration that's in quote-unquote mobile game style within quote awakened form, which is going to be 2 illustrations total. So I'll link some pictures here. I play a lot of Genshin, so I'll just link pictures of that. But essentially it's character design with 2 different versions, which is very popular for mobile games, which is why it's listed as mobile game style. In order to develop characters that are trendy, but also are reasonable and stylish in nature. So it's a really good portfolio piece for character designers, illustrators, etc. And I think there's a very broad sense as to what kind of project material we're going to be working with here. So OKKU begins by breaking down what we're expecting to see in the stages within this full project-based program. So the first stage is going to be the concept art, and it's going to have a planning stage, where the concept art is going to require a concept style and color. It's going to be a work on unique style and art style planning, so really, even beginning from the planning stages, how can you influence with your own style what the character is going to look like and how they're going to feel. And then mentioned earlier, this is a project-based design, therefore most of the design aspects are going to be goal-based, you know. If they have certain abilities, if your employer / if the lecturer asks or expects you to meet certain requirements, can you meet those with the art that you're fulfilling? Then after the planning stage, there's going to be a draft stage where multiple drafts that are varied from one another to diversify silhouettes are going to be submitted. On a tangent, this is actually a big aspect that's pushed a lot. It was first mainly iconized by Disney characters. So if you black out all their character colors, whatever, and then just show them as a silhouette, most people can identify them. And it's evident of really good character design by Disney. A lot of artists reference that and Disney, and it's why they're upheld to such a high degree for their character design. And then overall at the end of the draft stage, there's going to be a decision on one design in order to move forward to the detail work, which is going to be the finishing stage. So that's going to include the details, obviously, so coloring, light, contrast, etc., defining and correcting any issues that may be present, as well as adding a front and back view of the character. Then after the concept art stage, there's going to be the illustration, which is going to be the second half of the course. And it's going to be one illustration that's going to include the character design with relevant pose and objects that may be drawn in relevancy to the character in terms of, you know, are they warrior, mage, whatever, if this is interpreted for a game, as well as composition, line art, coloring and shading, and effects and textures / details, as well as some minor touch-ups from moving it from a concept art to a full illustration. The whole point is to understand the underlying theory to express principles, which is a very, very, very strong point pushed by most of these artists that we can observe on Coloso, and it is a very, very important one to uphold regardless. All the work is going to be done in Photoshop, with the main tools being lasso, brush, and gradient. And in this point of the lecture near the end, Oku kind of goes over a little bit of the shortcuts and tools that she recommends to use in Photoshop. I won't really go over them because I really use Photoshop for a touch-up tool. I don't use it to do most of my drawing, sketching, etc., art stuff. But Photoshop is a great tool. Hopefully, if you haven't heard of it for some reason, or if you have access to it, is an amazing tool if you can get hands on it, because it is ridiculously expensive. But at the end of the day, use whatever you essentially have. Hopefully Photoshop is the way to go, and it is a professional standard, though that is changing from what I've observed. But Photoshop is still widely used by professionals because of its constant updates, as well as its huge catalog of open source tools, brushes, etc., that you can use. So hopefully you'll have access to it. I don't have any links or anything that I can recommend, but I digress. And then mainly the last point was to set your tool preferences to work efficiently, which is really just setting shortcuts that work best for you. Obviously there's the default ones, Control-C, Control-V, but not many people know of Control-Shift-A, Control-Shift-D, Control-P, Control-T, Control-X, yada yada yada. Whatever stuff that you may use. For like photo editing stuff, I use GIMP because it's free. So most of my shortcut knowledge is through there. And then most of the stuff that I draw is on my iPad, which are gesture based rather than a keyboard. So it's kind of different. But in any case, whatever tools you have at hand, make use of them. Make value out of your time. Don't waste time trying to find tools or do things that you could have easily done in mere seconds with a shortcut. So the summary. There wasn't much to the intro of this course. There wasn't even much of an introduction. Oku kind of goes over a little bit of what she's done so far as an illustrator and as a teacher, but I haven't really regarded it in this video, but it is insightful to those actually watching the lecture. And the big takeaway is that this is project-based design, 100%. Class is going to be fast-paced, it's efficient and project-oriented as mentioned, and there will be final products to show at the end of the course, which is a huge plus for those looking to get into their field of interest as soon as possible. And then the self-assigned homework, become comfortable with Photoshop tools and shortcuts mentioned. Obviously, if you don't have Photoshop, hopefully you can gain access to it or find some way to convert the class resource files into whatever you need to open it with. Because all the resource files listed are in PSD. This isn't much to start for 1.1 of Oku's class. I'll probably make a quick 1.2 turnaround in order to make up for that. But in any case, hopefully this helped show an insight to those looking to get started with Oku's class that are still on the fence. Like I said, it is project-based and there will be tangible results at the end of it, which makes it a super valuable course overall to show. And you have a teacher essentially walking you through every step of the process that you can then repeat for later projects, hopefully in a professional setting. So if this video was helpful for you, feel free to like and subscribe if it helped. Leave me any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them if I can. And hopefully I will see you guys in the next lecture if you choose to continue with me. Have a good one.